If you can believe it, we are less than a week away from the 1-year anniversary of the introduction of both Pearl and her crabby husband here. Now, I don't know about you, but it certainly feels like a lot longer to me. Probably because the only time we have ever really spoken about the Crab King was the time we munched him to death with giant rabbits. But he's an interesting one, folks, mostly due to him being poorly designed, all the while still having one of the most unique sets of mechanics around, in my opinion. Make no mistake, we are still just here to cheese him today. However, I still kinda want to talk the boss as a whole for the first time since his release. So, bear with me here, and let's get to it. And let's start with his spawning habits, as they are the first hurdle for sure. For you see, while he is meant to be found in the Swell Ocean, aka the ocean waters right past the waters on the coast, he can still spawn bloody anywhere. And for anyone who has watched our ocean breakdown video, you know just how weird the game can get with what is or isn't coastal, swell, rough, or harsh waters. Plus, we have multiple islands now too, therefore more chances for him to spawn in swell oceans not near the mainland. In short, finding the dude can be an absolutely huge problem. Or is it? As what if I told you there was a way to pinpoint his location without having to sail around on your nautical circles for hours potentially? The only issue though is that it too is going to take some time to set up. For you see, we need to unlock what is known as the Astral Detector via the ancient Orchestrina down within the ancient archives. Why? Well, because it is the job of the Astral Detector here to locate celestial altar pieces throughout the world, even if one technically doesn't exist yet. But hold up, how does it all bloody work, Beard, and what do you want about? Well, it's pretty simple actually, given how the Astral Detectors will literally just point you in the right direction with literal arrows on the ground. However, it can be pretty precise, so be mindful there as to not use up all your uses. But eventually, you will be shown the location of a buried piece of the Celestial Sanctum. But make note, you've actually got 2 of the suckers to find. And once you do find both, then and only then will the Astral Detector now point in the direction of the inviting formations on the lunar island, as yes, they hold celestial altar parts in them as well. But finally, after all that is said and done, the Astral Detector will direct us towards the Crab King as he drops the Celestial Tribute with Pearl's Pearl socketed in him. Yes, it will point to him, even before you actually do that, mind you. But folks, I think you're starting to see why we all have problems with this guy. Simply finding him can be an absolute pain. But thankfully, that's the only hard part. But speaking of Pearl's Pearl, while it is 100% optional, I would not fight the Crab King without it nowadays. Not with the Celestial Altars being as important as they are being teased to be in the upcoming updates. But finding her and completing her quest is light years easier than what we just did. But in case you do need a refresher or just some friendship options, we have got you covered. Have fun, but it's time, everyone. Fight prep time. Now, I'm not really going to hold your hand throughout all this, as if you're considering a Crab King fight, then you must have some good footing in the game, if you know what I mean. Still, here's the shopping list. Killer bees, a Starcaller staff, a lazy explorer, a pan flute, and a way to dispose of said killer bees after the fights. Now, how you go about getting the bees is entirely up to you, but they must be killer. So spring is going to be your best bet by far. Also, this is one of those more the merrier sort of deals. Oh, but Healthful Beard is just too helpful. So he's just going to throw in this little tidbit of being able to feed bees most anything to keep them from dying within your inventories. So make note. And don't forget the Lazy Explorer and Starcallers. Now, are they absolutely 110% required? No, but they will make your life 1000% easier. So trust me, you're gonna want them. You're gonna want a pan flute too, as it will not only keep you safe before the fight, it might save you a headache potentially after the fight too. So get them all when you can. But this is where the fun begins. What gems do we socket? For you see, this is the interesting part of the Crab King. Whatever gems you socket changes his fight dramatically. And I love that. And Pearl's Pearl actually counts as 3 of each, so make note there. But I will never not suggest purple gems, everyone. Really, no matter how you do this fight. Well, unless you use seaweeds, but that's a whole other topic for another day. But we just don't want him to have more health. That's going to make the fight longer than it already is. We obviously don't want him healing more for the exact same reason. More claws could mean more trouble for us, and we don't really want to be involved with this method. Freeze range and all that is super dangerous, and casting time just makes it all tedious at the end of the day. So then, geysers it is, as they won't even bother us if we do this right. But how do we do this right? Well, by making sure that when our bees do freeze, as it's just inevitable, that they freeze ASAP. Hence the Star Caller staff, everyone. So just lay down some strategic dwarf stars in all directions, as you don't really know where the bees are going to be flying, of course, to make sure that you have coverage. Or just go crazy and just spawn 1,000,000 of them just to be sure. It's going to be your call. And then, the fight is on. Ideally using an extra boat, stand near the dude and just drop your stacks of bees after you have socketed the 9th and final gem. Then, quickly put them to sleep as to not draw their aggro onto you, and as quickly as you can, teleport to your proper boat and be prepared to start sailing away immediately. Why? Because it's possible that his geysers may reach you and target you throughout the fight, so in that case, you should just sail in a circle around him until the fight is done. However, you might get lucky like me depending on distance, and nothing might happen. And the best part about that is that that's it. You just gotta sit back and watch. Folks, the fight is boring as all heck. It's why I didn't do it in West Wednesday, but it is by far the easiest method out there. It's kind of a joke. It's why we've been using it for almost a year since he's been in beta. It will take a while. So here are some specifics on how this fight usually goes down. He casts his typically counterable geyser attacks every 10 seconds, and they create leaks on boats. That's why you want to counter it. When he drops below 90% health, he begins to spawn imposing claws, that thus latch onto boats and damages them over time, which is bad. 85% health and below sees him casting his overly annoying freeze attack that is counterable, yes, but is still absolutely frustrating. And finally, 85% health and below also sees him healing every 40 seconds for 10 seconds total, which can be devastating even at the low levels, as he heals for 650 health per rock, if he isn't being hit often, mind you. Hence why you need more bees and to make sure they're not staying frozen. It sounds simple, but it's not. The fight is interesting, yet very off-putting, just due to how everything is implemented and just spammed by this dude. I don't know. The whole thing is just still weird, but it has so much potential, which sucks. But why do you think we're still killing him with bees a year later, for Pete's sake? But yes, eventually he will die, and the more bees you have, the faster it will be. So take care of said bees by putting them to sleep, or however you decide to do so as you collect your loot, and you'll be golden. Golden for what though? Well, how about the blueprint for the Strident Trident? It is a unique weapon dropped by him alone that deals more damage while we're on the water, mind you, but can also be played to summon geysers that deal 85 damage each. Uproot kelp now, which is actually kind of awesome, destroy sea stacks, and even push fish out of the water. Oh, and with the geysers, you can puncture holes in boats too, so be careful. Expensive, but neat. But neater still is his inactive celestial tribute here. One of the 3 celestial altars in the game needed for the mysterious energy, folks. What does it all mean? We have no bloody clue, but we're all here for it regardless. But remember, you can only get this if Pearl's Pearl is socketed. Cool stuff. But there you have it, everyone. Yeah, I know we could have talked the meat that he drops, the barnacle that he drops, the sketch for his figure that he drops, the cracked pearl that you can give the pearl for just a little more dialogue is not really that big of a deal, the multiple shells that he drops that make music, this, that, the other, but you kind of get the picture. This was just essentially our first Crab King guide after all this time has gone by, coupled with a new but super old way to cheese him for your troubles, folks. But thanks for watching, well wishes to all, it's the Bees Cheese, and I'll see ya in the next one. Bye bye.